We have an election coming up in the town of Barnstable. We're going to choose a new United States Senator. Ann Quirk, our guest on Barnstable Today. Our guest on Barnstable Today is Ann Quirk, the new town clerk. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Len. Thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations once again for being chosen as the new town clerk in the town of Barnstable.
Thank you.
And you've been working with the town clerk's office for how long?
In Barnstable for 2 years, and prior to that, I had 5 years as the assistant town clerk in Yarmouth.
And how is Yarmouth different from Barnstable? The process has got to be the same, right?
Mostly, but really, the town of Barnstable is a city.
Right.
So that makes some of the different programming and different ways of reporting to the state. But pretty much it's the same job.
It is. Now, before we started to record, you had to do a wedding. Weddings are part of your job too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's the fun part. I mean, really fun part. I love doing them. And here, it's perfect. We have this lovely tree. We have this lovely green area. Perfect.
It is. Sure beats doing a wedding in front of Route 28.
It sure does.
Of course, we're prejudiced here in the town of Barnstable, so.
Yes, it certainly does.
All right, Ann, before we get to the elections going to be held tomorrow, let's talk about the town council elections. Because of the census that was taken, the districts may have to be redrawn, and we're going to have some new people who are going to be running, and perhaps some people who are currently councilors who are not going to be running. Tell us, please, how the census works in conjunction with what you have to do to redistrict or not redistrict all the local precincts.
The 2010 census, which is federal, is the one that helps us to determine how many people are truly in our town. What happens is they go door to door, which we can't possibly do, which is wonderful because they have a really good idea of how many people are truly here in the town of Barnstable. When that happens, they have to look at all of the precinct lines and decide how they have to tweak them so that we have about the same amount of voters in each precinct.
The constitutional rule of one man, one vote is still in effect, although that's 300 years old. So that's part of what the census does.
Correct. So they've already done the redistricting, but it means that some of the lines are a little bit different on the different precincts, which requires us then to have an election where all 13 councilors are up for election. And there may be some who are in precinct 2 who are now in precinct 11, or that's what's changed. Certain streets have changed. So as of today, earlier today, we have quite a few people running for the different town council positions. We also have 2 positions open for the housing authority and 2 positions for the school department, and then of course town clerk.
We're not going to get into that particular area right now because, well, we don't want to give anybody a fair advantage or an unfair advantage.
True.
Having been in the town for a long time and having served for 8 years as a town councilor, it becomes difficult after 8 years to keep your enthusiasm up. And I compliment Janet Jokum. She served 12 years, and Janice Barton served a long time. That's a difficult thing to do, and they have chosen not to run again. So there's a lot of reasons in addition to redistricting why some people may decide not to run.
Oh, absolutely. That, and we do have some new people who have come out. So at this point in time, we have quite a few people who've taken out papers for Precinct 12 and for Precinct 11 and Precinct 6. So we could have a preliminary. We'll know better towards the end of July, beginning of August.
And when do people, for those people out there who might be interested in running to be a town councilor or the other offices that are open, when do they have to get their nomination papers back into you?
The nomination papers, the last day you can take them out is July 26th. They must be back in the office by July 29th so they can be certified.
And after they're certified, you let the people know that their 50 names have been certified, and then they can go out and start raising money or campaigning or doing what they have to do.
Correct.
And when are we going to have primaries this year?
Well, that will be determined that first week in August. Then, after all of those are certified, and we'll notify everyone in the different precincts whether or not they're going to have a preliminary.
And the elections are in November.
Well, the full election is in November. If we have to have a preliminary, it will be September 17th.
Always something going on in the town clerk's office.
Always. That's what makes it so interesting.
Okay, we're here to talk about the election. There's going to be an election, and somewhere, somehow, someone decided that it's going to be in the beginning or the end of June. And it didn't seem to make sense to a lot of people, but that's the way it is. What kind of preparations do you have to make now as town clerk to have an election in June?
Well, the preparations are ongoing. They're ongoing yearly, but because of the date that Senator Kerry gave his notice, that is what started this whole elections calendar to end up with a June wedding, because there are specific time frames involved. And this June election is it's tough for a lot of folks because they have company. The people who do our wardens, our clerks, they really do a great job for us here. But it's a lot. A lot of them are very busy right now.
Sure. And this election is not the type that you can say we anticipate that we're going to have a low turnout, so we'll just do everything at town hall. All of the rules have to apply, so that all the precincts have to have their individual elections.
All the precincts have to be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., just like any other election. I have to have all the same people working. We still have to have the same amount of police officers and wardens and clerks and checkers and inspectors. It's a huge process.
And I think you hit an interesting point too, is we're not in Everett, and we're not in Chelsea, and we're not in Worcester, where the day-to-day activities are basically the same, but we're here on beautiful Cape Cod in the town of Barnstable, where things change. How many people are in the town of Barnstable right now compared to the population?
Oh my gosh. We anticipate at least an additional 50,000 to 100,000 people during the summer months.
Sure.
And now you're dealing with people who want to do absentee balloting. We've done tremendous amount of absentee balloting already for this election.
Tell us, if you can, please, to the best of your recollection, of all the voters we have in the town of Barnstable, how many are? Let's go with percentages. What percentages are Democrats, Republicans, and unenrolled? Do you know that off the top of your head?
The unenrolled by far outweigh both the Democrats and Republicans. We're a little bit higher on the Democratic side, but the unenrolled's, it's an amazing amount of people in each precinct that are unenrolled today.
Sure. At this moment, it's the day before the election. I'm going to ask for your prognostication. What's the turnout percentage going to be? Do you know? How do you feel?
Well, if I use the absentee balloting as a benchmark, I would have to say 25 to 30%.
Now, that's a pretty high number for what is anticipated of people to come out.
I know. I heard on the news today they're thinking that it's going to be a very low turnout, but we'll see what happens.
People in Barnstable care.
Well, I love the fact that they get involved. It's wonderful.
Sure. All right. Town Clerk Ann Quirk talking about the election that's coming up for our new United States Senator. For Barnstable Today, I'm Len Gobiel.